Thank you for joining us as we talk about strategies to accelerate revenue growth at your small business. Thanks for joining us. My name's Ashley Speaker. I'm the program coordinator at Corporate College. And joining me today is Patrice Blakemore, our executive director for the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses program, which is in partnership with Tri-C. Patrice, thanks so much for being here today.
I'm really excited about talking about how to accelerate your business. So thank you for having me.
Oh, I know this is going to be great. I know that you have so much knowledge about this topic, and it's always a great thing for me to learn more from all of our, experts at Corporate College as well as Tri-C. So again, thank you. And if you could start off by telling us a little bit about yourself, your background, how you found yourself working with this program.
I am an attorney by trade, if you will, and I had the opportunity once we relocated to Cleveland to change my whole career. And so I had kids, I stayed at home, and I really wanted something that was different that allowed me the flexibility that I needed. So I created a training and consulting business. And then when my children went to school full time, I saw this great opening for a business advisor. And it happened to be with the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses program. And I was just in awe with the program. And since that time, I have advised over 500 business owners, and now I'm the executive director of the program.
Oh, that's awesome. And it's so cool that you can combine that knowledge of law with also your experience in running a business, and you're doing the consulting to really help people. Because I'm sure a big question that comes up for a lot of small business owners are things that happen with legal things as well as finances and just running and organizing, a business itself.
I would say that the law helped me to know how to think and to ask the right questions. So when you're a business advisor and you're helping business owners, you're the sounding board. So I had the opportunity to really get in and learn about their business and ask them the right questions so that they could create an even more solid foundation than what they came in as.
Wow, that's awesome. And yeah, asking the right questions is always so important when you're having those dynamic conversations with individuals. So could you tell us a bit about the 10,000 Small Businesses program? What is it and what does it do for small businesses?
It is a 3-month accelerator for small business owners. So it's an educational course. People who apply, interview, and are accepted receive a full scholarship.
Oh, wow.
And we help uncover the blind spots of business owners so that they can continue to grow and they can hire.
That's huge. That's huge as a small business to have that resource available, a business advisor, as well as lots of different skills, because we can't always be good at everything when we start a business, right? Usually it starts with passion and then we kind of go from there.
Nobody is good at everything. So, and this program really helps you to highlight those things that you do really well and those things that you should delegate.
Love it. Love it. And this is close to my heart in the sense I grew up with a father who was a small business owner. He's since retired, but, knowing that, there's always more areas to grow, which speaking of which, we're going to talk today about strategies to accelerate revenue growth, which obviously is a huge topic for small businesses and businesses in general, but also as they're moving forward, and especially during this weird, uncertain time with COVID and everything else going on. So if you could talk to us, maybe about some myths around accelerating revenue and what myths people tend to believe.
There are 3 myths that I really want to tackle in this short amount of time. The first myth is all growth is good. We had a scholar, and that's what we call the business owners that are in our class, come into the program, and he said, listen, I don't have any problem with growth, but I have problems with keeping my wheels on so they don't fall off. And so some people think that no matter, what you do, as long as you're growing, that's good. But you really want to make sure that you have a solid foundation. You have the processes in place. You have the people in place that can support that growth. And also, You may want to grow, but it's an area outside of your expertise. You really want to focus on your core competencies. And so when you think about growth, you want to look at it holistically, not as all growth is good growth, because it's not. You want to be strategic. The next myth, if I can, is all clients are equal. All clients are not equal. All clients are not good clients. I'm sure you've had a conversation or two with your dad. Not everybody pays on time. Not everybody is as nice to interact with. And some are more demanding than they probably would fit your I guess your protocol, which means that you lose profit. So if you don't have the right client, you are not going to be as profitable as you could be if you focus on the ones that are in your sweet spot.
Yeah, I think that's something too that people are really surprised by, but every person demands a different amount of time or even brain power sometimes to deal with, right?
It's like the Pareto Principle, like 80% of your time is spent on 20% of your clients.
Wow.
And you really want to look at that and then say, how can I change that dynamic?
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, that's so interesting. So, what's the next myth?
The third myth is hire as fast as possible.
Hmm.
When you are in a crunch and you really need, it's like, I just need a warm body. That will come to bite you in the end every time. And here's the rub, is that when you need to hire, that means that you are already overworked. You just have to have a conversation with yourself and say, I know I'm overworked. I'm going to continue to be overworked, but it's going to be worse if I do not get the right person in that position. So really making sure that you go through the vetting process, that you're asking the right questions of your candidates, and assuring that they fit in with your culture and they have the right skill set. That is what's really going to make the difference. Not hiring just a warm body. That will almost never work out in the end.
Right. I feel like that's so true. Like looking back at my dad's experience, there were probably days where he had to hire real quick, but there were those individuals that really did stay on and weren't problems, but actually were better for the business that he built the relationships with. They were almost like part of our family because they were around so
Wow.
much. So that's like a huge ask, right? When you're hiring someone
Yes.
that you're taking on the small business, but you're a part of a bigger picture.
And I like what you say about family businesses, because they are so personal. Businesses are personal anyway, but when you involve your family, that's a whole nother aspect to it. And you want to make sure that they're people that you can trust, that you believe in, and that make your life easier.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. All right, so we covered those three myths, but like let's get into the meat, right? Like how do we internally accelerate growth in an organization then? If we, dispel those myths, okay, they're off to the side. What can we do now?
Well, I want to look at it in two separate ways. The first way is, let's look at it internally. What are the things that you need to do within your organization that are going to help promote that growth and accelerate the revenue that you have coming in? And so you really want to look at a few things, and they include developing an advisory board. So an advisory board, the ones who are most successful, they look at the gaps in their knowledge. It's really, Ashley, like you said, we don't know everything, right?
Right.
So you think about, what are the areas that you do really well? If you have a marketing firm, you have that covered. But maybe you need an accountant, you need someone in finance that can really help you understand the numbers so you can make managerial decisions on the metrics, right? Maybe it is operations and processes. You want someone that has a Lean Six Sigma background that can say, hey, if you tweak this area, you can be more efficient, which is directly benefits your bottom line, your profit. So an advisory board is very, very advantageous. You want to make sure that you have parameters, so you have a time frame. I'd love for you to be on my board for 6 months, 9 months, a year. We're going to meet quarterly. And in preparation for those meetings, you want to make sure that you have the numbers, that you talk about what's going well, and you also look at, which is even more important, what are your challenges that they can help you with? And then in addition to that, you want to research your competition. We
Mm,
have a wonderful, wonderful resource at Kent State, and a librarian, Karen, is very, very helpful for small business owners. She's not going to do the work for you, but she can assist you on how you research your competition so that you can know, how are we different? How are we the same? And what is it what's my niche in this area? Develop a management team. This really goes back to the third myth about hiring fast. You want to be able to hire potential. So maybe you don't have someone who has the experience, the leadership experience, but you feel they could grow into that as your company grows. You want to be able to give them the training and the leadership they need, like corporate college does all the time. I've taken classes. I absolutely love all of the different training options that corporate college provides. And that's one of the things that we want small businesses to consider, as well as using your data and your metrics. What are you looking at on a weekly basis, right? Some people are like daily, others are hourly, depending on their industry, but it's something that you're looking at consistently, and it's not just you, it's the team. And that's going to really hold you accountable to the goals that you've set and ensure success in meeting them.
yeah, all those things are so huge in like building yourself up. And really, I love what you said about that advisory team, because not having all of the expertise as one person, you really have to be able to know who to go to, but you have to be prepared too to ask those right questions, right? So that those
Absolutely.
numbers are important. That's huge. So, thank you for talking about the corporate college classes as well, because that's a big piece too, for individuals to know the resources that we have. We've had a lot of small business owners come through our programs too, to, that individual they hired as just, our regular employee, is all of a sudden now managing your new employees. And
Yes.
what does that look like to take on that role and be in charge of people that you weren't maybe in charge of before? So those are huge skills to grow with. Or, Lean Six Sigma you mentioned. I mean, we have programs for that once you get into having enough projects that you need managed, and really how do you reduce the waste and increase
Right.
profits for your organization. Huge
And I
things.
just have to interject that I am a yellow belt, Lean Six Sigma graduate, and it was through corporate college. And I'm going to tell you, I am a person who is like a little puppy dog, squirrel, and then I'm off to the races. So taking that class really helped me to understand why I needed to be focused and how I was going to be more effective and efficient in my delivery when I focus on one thing at a time before moving on to the next, before moving to the next. I'm telling you, I use it all the time, and I drive my team crazy, but in the end, they get it because they're like, okay, yes, this was a more efficient way to handle this project.
Right. And that's a huge thing too, getting team buy-in. But when they see results, then you get that buy-in, right?
Results show everything. Everybody wants to be on a winning team. And if you get good results, people are going to say, okay, all righty, you were correct. I like it now. At least I see the
Absolutely.
value.
Yeah. So, okay, now we've covered all these great things about growth, and about individuals that have come through 10,000 small businesses. Can you tell me, what's the biggest myth surrounding 10,000 small businesses in the program?
The biggest myth small business owners have is I don't have enough time.
Mm,
This is an intensive program. It's about 120 hours within a 3-month time period.
wow.
But this is what I tell them. There is no one that is in our program that has the time. There's no one twiddling their thumbs saying, I sure wish I had something to do. These are people who want to be better. They want to be stronger. They want to be faster and more efficient. And they want to dedicate that time to making themselves better and hitting those goals that they've set for themselves. And for me, I love the program, but we aren't the magic of the program. The magic is the pure learning. When our small businesses come in, there are about 30 small businesses in the cohort. They're connecting with each other and they're learning from each other's best practices in different industries. And that is really where the magic happens. And they serve as these informal advisory boards because they have all of these different people with all of these different expertise that can help them grow their businesses.
I love that. And I feel like, especially when you're a small business owner, you're so busy, you're dedicating so many hours. How do you even go out and meet peers to, form an advisory board? And that's another great way to do it. And then to be able to take a step back and say, you know what, maybe 3 months of my time is worth years down the road for future growth.
Yes, I just spoke with an alum and he was in our program in 2013. And with COVID, he's been totally impacted, but he has now taken a step back and said, I'm going to reinvent myself. And he said, you
Wow.
know what, Patrice? He said, tomorrow I am going on vacation for a week. And do you know what's happening in my business? We're moving. He said, the only reason I am going out of town when we're moving is because I went through the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses program, and he learned how to work on his business, not just in it.
Wow. Wow. And that's a huge success story, even as little as that sounds like he's going on vacation, but that's a huge thing to do when your business is still running and
Yes,
moving. And small business owners, I mean, their whole life is invested in their business. So to be able to take a step back and really recharge, everyone's going to benefit from that.
absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here today to chat with us.
Thank you, Ashley. This has been so much fun. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, anytime. Feel free. We can do this again sometime and talk about more strategies that you have, because I'm sure you have plenty up your sleeve.
We have so many.
All right. And thank you to our listeners for joining us today. If you have any questions about 10,000 small businesses or the programs that we have at Corporate College, there'll be a link in the description. And as always, stay safe and have a great day.